Thank you, Robert, and I'll get my thank yous in first in case I run out of time. So thank you to all of you for coming today, and particularly people that I know in the audience who've been very supportive over the last 7 or so years. I joined Star Refrigeration as a design engineer in 1999, having been a student before that, but 2009 took up the challenge of Director of Innovation of a very well-established UK company. Really, how can you do something different in refrigeration? The answer I came back to the board was, I think we should get into heating. So this is a story of how a cooling company gets into heating. A little bit of science for you. 1852, Lord Kelvin spoke about 200 metres from here, 1852, about refrigeration and heat pumps. And on the left of the diagram, you see something blue that's cold. A heat pump basically sucks heat out of that and delivers it into somewhere that you would want it. Essentially, lower cost, lower carbon, but that's the rest of the story. So, moving on to what we've done in the last few years or so. This is a proven solution. We've done 30 megawatts of district heating around Europe. It can also balance the grid. We're talking about energy storage, but why store the energy when you could perhaps use it immediately to make 3 units of heat instead of 1 unit of electricity? And of course, when you're cooling something down, you've got useful cooling. So the story in Drammen that was referred to earlier by the Minister, they don't actually use the 10 megawatts of cooling. That's enough for about 5 data centres, and they're not even using the cooling, and yet it's viable. So here's one I prepared earlier in classic Blue Peter fashion. This is the world's largest 90-degree heat pump, designed and built in Glasgow and installed in Norway, in Scandinavia, which is deemed to be the home of district heating. They had to come to us for this technology. So we really are pushing the boundaries in this. But why? Well, 50% of the UK's energy is for heating. So it's not all about electricity. Heating is the big play. It's twice as much of the energy. The European Union imports €1 billion a day of fuel from foreign countries, €1 billion, and 50% of that is for heating. That's how big a market potential this is. And some stats, a little bit of science, if you like, where we're using our heating and where it comes from, but most of it is from gas. So 75% of the UK's heat demand is in established buildings already, the built environment. We need something that's going to be better than just 50-degree heat pumps, and that's what we've done at 90 degrees. But what we're saying is that the target is to tackle 1/3 of the UK's carbon dioxide emissions. Decarbonising the heat sector by 2050 is a widely stated challenge. We can only do it with heat pumps over 70 degrees. We will not take even a brand new building like this and heat it with water at 50 degrees. It needs to be warmer. We need zero emissions, zero carbon if that's your thing. It's not necessarily the be-all and end-all, but we want to be as close towards that as possible. And of course, lower cost. Creating more jobs in Scotland. The export potential for us as a business already is clearly demonstrated. And a secure heat source. We talk about switching the gas pipe off. So long as it keeps raining in Glasgow, we have a source of heat flowing past our doorstep. So, pipeline of projects, that's what any investor wants to see. Well, the good news is that there's more than this list. The bad news is one of these is gone already. We hooked up an order last week, so I'm very pleased about that. But the pipeline is there. Any big building will need heat, and any big building will need heat warmer than 50 degrees, and therefore large heat pumps are an opportunity. However, what is the ask? It needs to be funded. Even when we turn up and say, we've got a great idea, it's got a payback of 6 years, that's too long for most businesses. So what we have to do is turn this into how they equate their energy at the moment. They buy it as they use it. That's the way we need to make heat. We need to make it a consumable commodity. So it needs to be funded. But is it financially viable? Well, we can provide heating and cooling. We get a coefficient of performance, which means an efficiency of 300% to 400%, so 3 units of heat for every unit of electricity that's consumed. Break-even point, 6 to 10 years is fairly typical. Carbon viability. Well, Drammen that I demonstrated earlier, it's zero carbon heating. They get 67 gigawatt hours per year of heat at zero carbon. Even versus gas, there's a carbon saving. At today's grid intensity, it's about 36%. At future grid 2035 will be 74% better than the carbon footprint of burning gas. And of course, even now, a lot of buildings are heated with electricity. So the aim is to unlock the heat market for everybody, all the existing buildings, but that needs an investor to let us set up a business that is established on a heat purchase agreement. So instead of selling capital equipment, we take the risk for the equipment, and the client buys heat from us as they use it. So Star Renewable Energy is a new subdivision of Star Refrigeration, 45 years old, founded in Glasgow in 1970, and currently we're the largest UK industrial heating contractor. We look after all the logistics facilities for Tesco and Asda. So if you believe in us, you believe in frozen chips from Asda and Tesco. So you're in safe hands. We've won some awards. It's been quite successful over the last couple of years. But the key thing to this is not a new technology. This is something we've proven, and we're a proven team that can deliver this. We know that. We're trusted by these large companies. We've got the proven project delivery team. We've got the proven product. We've got the proven market demand. What we need is that financial partner. So, the definition of insanity, I'm sure you all know, but I'll say it again, is to keep making the same mistakes or doing the same things and expect a different result. We have to recalibrate our relationship with energy, and that starts with heat. Thank you.